There are many exemptions to the food traceability rule. In this video, we will cover some of the most common exemptions so you know what to expect and so you can ask questions as they come up. Let's look at some examples of foods that are exempt from the rule. Raw molluscan shellfish are on the FTL, but are exempt if they are covered by the National Shellfish Sanitation Program. However, the businesses that handle such shellfish may not be exempt if they handle other products on the FTL. Food sold directly from a farm to a restaurant is exempt, but the restaurant must keep records of the farm's name and address. The same farm could sell produce to a packer or processor, in which case that food would be covered by the FTR. Restaurants and retail food corporations with average annual food sales of less than $250,000 are exempt from the FTR. Note that this dollar figure is adjusted for inflation, as are all future dollar figures in this video. Small produce farms that make less than $25,000 annually are exempt. Egg producers with fewer than 3,000 laying hens are exempt. Other producers of raw agricultural commodities, i.e., aquaculture farms, that make less than $25,000 annually are exempt. Food products sold directly to consumers, such as at farmers markets, roadside stands, and similar venues, are exempt from the FTR's traceability requirements. The owner of the fishing vessel is exempt, however, two caveats apply. First, if the owner also processes fish on the vessel, they must maintain limited records about the immediate previous source and immediate recipient of the product, often referred to as one-up one-back records. Second, until the fish is sold by the owner of the fishing vessel, it is exempt. For example, the owner of a fishing vessel may also own the processing facility on land, as well as the warehouse. Until the owner of the fishing vessel sells the fish, they are exempt. It is important to understand some of the nuances of the FTL so you can identify when a food product is covered by the FTR and/or when it is no longer covered. If you apply a kill step to a food on the FTL, the requirements of the FTR do not apply to your subsequent shipping of the food, or to anyone else who handles the food after you ship it. Records must be kept of the kill step. An example is canned tomatoes. They come into a processing plant as a fresh tomato, which is a food on the FTL, but after they have been processed and canned, they are no longer covered by the rule because a kill step was applied. Freezing fresh produce changes its form so that it is no longer covered by the FTR. Note that seafood is covered regardless of whether it is fresh, frozen, or previously frozen, so this exemption does not apply to seafood. If you dry a food, that is also a change in the form of the food such that it is no longer on the list. The rule includes a partial exemption for commingled raw agricultural products such as eggs and fish. This exemption does not apply to any produce items on the list. This exemption only applies when the products are combined or mixed after harvesting but before processing of the food. For eggs or aquacultured seafood, the commingling can only involve the same product from different farms under different company management. For wild-captured seafood, commingling must occur after fish from different vessels have reached land. A food can be exempt throughout the supply chain as long as you have a written agreement with your supply chain partners that a kill step will be applied or that it will be commingled. Let's look at some examples. A farmer grows tomatoes, but they know 3 steps down the supply chain, someone will apply a kill step to it because they are going to turn that tomato into ketchup. In this case, the farmer and the buyer could have a written agreement stating the buyer will send the tomato to a processor who will apply a kill step. Then the buyer could have a written agreement with the processor that the kill step will be applied. In this case, the farmer, buyer, and processor do not have to maintain any other records under the FTR as long as they have the written agreements. In another example, wild-captured crabs are going to a plant to be cooked, picked, and pasteurized. Since they know at the point the crabs are landed, they will eventually receive a kill step, if there are written agreements between supply chain partners in that supply chain that the facility will pasteurize the product. The entities that maintain the written agreements do not have to maintain any other records under the rule.